I don't hear anything.
And gosh, I need to hit my
All
mute
right.
button. I had my mute button off, and you guys didn't hear a word that I said. We have Thomas Morales with us today, who is at Thomas Morales on X, and he helps founders escape the grind with automation. It dawned on me, uh, preparing for the show today, that success in business is one thing, but then what do you do after you've achieved that success? And what I would recommend that you do is learn how to live your life by leveraging some tools that I think Thomas is going to bring to the table today. He's a master of elevating business life from reactive to proactive. He was born in Caracas, Venezuela. At the age of 9, his family migrated to Canada, where he is, currently. And in 2014, he started to improve the air quality in Canada by opening a air quality testing company. In 2 years, they merged with a larger company, Air Quality Canada, and implemented systems, automation that led him, like I know a lot of you founders and entrepreneurs would like, to step away from the day to day and actually live his life. In the next 3 years, he went around helping launch businesses after natural disasters. He became CEO at Jasper, which is an air purifier business, and he operates today, get this, 10 brands, and he scaled a multi six figure business, spending, gosh, this just sounds so unreal, 3 hours a month by leveraging systems and what he's great at, which is automation. And Thomas, hey man, thank you for being on the show today. We're just talking about the weather up in Canada, which seems kind of odd because you were in charge of climate improvement there for a while doing air purifier. Do you still work in the air quality business?
Thanks for having me on. I do. I still co-own Air Quality Canada with two other partners, but as you mentioned and as my bio describes, I don't really spend much time on it. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey, and now I'm just focusing, doubling down on the things that excite me most, which is systems and automation. But I'm still a part of that business.
Well, and so at some point you had to develop this desire to try
Mm,
to, as you say, be more proactive than reactive,
mm.
and design your business in a way that it didn't take up every waking moment. What was the tipping point for you that you saw, even though you had so much success, there's got to be a better way
Yeah.
to, yeah.
Yeah, totally. There's been a couple or a few of those moments. I think the first one was with Air Quality Canada. We were just trying to do a lot with as few number of people as possible. And so it kind of forced me to dig deeper. And I guess I had a natural inclination or interest for systems and efficiency. I didn't really quite know it or understand it at the time as well as I do now. But I think also I was probably exposed to the possibility of automation early on. And when I saw that, automating things was very much a possibility for our business, I just continued going down that path, and I saw what even a single employee could achieve on their own. And so that was probably, I just doubled down to the point that, one guy could operate and carry a lot of sales and clients. I think the second thing that comes to mind that was really a moment, a significant moment in this journey was when I was the COO at Jasper. We were just having issues we had some bottlenecks like customer support, and we didn't really know how to handle it. And I think that was a moment where it forced me to figure out kind of some or work through some new problems that gave me some additional clarity. So I think it was just a moment of pressure, of need, really, not even of want. So those are kind of two key moments.
Was I say necessity is the mother of invention, and
Totally.
so you used some of those hurdles as opportunities instead of
Yeah.
catastrophizing them. Found a way to help them improve your business. What were some things that you noticed right away about how that improved your life? when you went into automation? What did it change?
The biggest thing is allowing me to focus on the things that mattered more, ultimately. It just gave me that additional window of time to, do one thing that was high leverage that could help and, continuously help me on an ongoing basis that allowed me to really direct my attention toward other areas. So it's just like, it's almost like, a really good system is almost like hiring a really good person that can continuously help you with little to no error. And so it's like peace of mind, put me at ease. I'm like, all right, I can focus on something else. And obviously things break, automation systems break from time to time. And that's another, I don't want to go on a tangent, but that was on this journey of systems and automation. I went from like trying to systemize and automate everything to now I'm somewhere in the middle where I can actually appreciate that simplicity is really important too. So whenever I can eliminate an automation and go without it, I try to do so. So separate point altogether, but
Well, I
yeah.
love that because it dawns on me some things I've heard said about Einstein in his E equals MC squared. Is he had the belief that the best solution was the most elegant one,
Mm,
not the one that was overly complex. And
yep.
so, yeah, I mean, I think that you can automate yourself into insanity. And but
Yeah.
another question about the difference that you saw this make in your life. What about
Mm.
other people? Did you have family members that noticed that you were more available to them, and that your relationship with them had improved for some reason? You had more time.
I think that's something that they're appreciating now. At the time, back in the, 6 ago when I was a lot more focused on Air Quality Canada and starting to explore the world of systems, they didn't really no the only that extra time really just went into doing more work. Uh, so and I, the biggest impact for me at the time was it gave me the opportunity to like you mentioned briefly on my bio, I went from systemizing and automating Air Quality Canada, replacing myself, to then working much harder, probably some of the hardest I've worked in my life, to help to basically launch businesses after natural disasters. And that was very, very hectic time of my life. Basically helping homeowners restore their homes and handle their insurance claims. So we're billing insurance, so that can get quite lucrative, but it's a ridiculous amount of stressful work. So at the time, I would say family and friends just probably saw me working harder, not lesser. But now I'm at the point where I'm not only focusing on company systems, I'm also focusing on personal systems. I think there's like what I call a company operating system. There's a personal operating system, and so now time blocking, how I manage projects, and my accountabilities, which is another concept we can get into. Now, I think my recently married, so my wife,
Oh,
sometimes it's weird for me to say my
congratulations!
wife. Yeah, thank you. Can now appreciate, that I am a lot more efficient with my time and can actually, dedicate evenings or maybe some weekdays because I can make sure that the things that I have to get done do get done. So early on, not so much to answer your question. If anything, I just went harder. But that led to even more learning opportunities at a faster rate. So still quite valuable for me overall.
But by the way, for you married folks out there, your spouse is the COO of what's important in life. Let appoint your spouse as you're the COO of bringing me down to earth and showing me what's important in life. Because I do mental health, and so I've seen lots and lots of really fabulously effective, successful people, but then it all becomes meaningless because it's just work, 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 work.
Mm. Yeah, to
At
what end?
whatever it is. So
Yeah, and I think that relates to something you also touched on earlier. It's like whatever I've realized, defining success is so important, or success or what done looks like. And this relates to anything, whether it's planning a project. Like often we're just like, okay, we want to do this, and then people, teams or whether even it's a personal project to renovate a home, they just like go with it, but they never actually took the time to define success. So whether it's defining a project or whether it's hiring someone, like I see so many companies just think, oh, I need a, I want, we need a social media manager. So they hire someone that they think will be a good fit. And a few months down the road, they're not happy with the result. And then when I ask them, did you define success? Like, no, they didn't. So whether it's projects, whether it's hiring, or whether it's like how you want to spend your time or what your like higher level goals and vision in life are, like what are you working towards? So I think that very much relates to what you were saying earlier, like defining success is something that most people miss.
Yeah, I think that we have to define success in terms of what is meaningful to us because whatever you decide there's meaning in, that's where you're going to put your feet. We first decide meaning, and then that meaning fuels or produces motivation. And then if you do something often enough, you get into the discipline of doing it. Now, here's the really dark side of discipline is people don't understand that you can be very disciplined in doing some of the most unhealthy things because you just do that thing repeatedly. I know people that are disciplined at, well, finding ways to skip work or finding reasons to drink or use drugs. It's a repetitive behavior and it deeply encodes that in the brain. So we start out with meaning. Well,
Mm-hmm.
let's see, Thomas. Well, how long have you been married now? You said brand new. How long's it been?
2 months.
Oh my goodness gracious, 2 months. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
going on my honeymoon in next weekend.
Hey, where are you gonna go?
Bora Bora.
Ah, Bora Bora. How long does it take to get to Bora Bora from
Ooh, long
Vancouver? I
time.
guess
Well,
you said.
I'm in Toronto,
Oh,
so we
Toronto.
gotta fly to LA and then fly to Tahiti and then fly to Bora Bora and then take a boat to the resorts.
Ah,
I think it's, if I remember correctly, something like 20 hours total travel time. So it's pretty
wow.
going to the
Sa-
middle of nowhere.
yeah. Sometimes the middle of nowhere is the best place to be. Well, what are
Mm.
some of the invisible hurdles that you discovered? Some of the hurdles that you find can sabotage success with other business owners and entrepreneurs.
Um, well, one of the ones we just touched on is huge, is defining success. I often say that, well, I'm not sure I'm not the only one, but productivity isn't how much you work. Productivity is defined by what you work on. And so, to your point, like defining meaning, success, you're not actually being productive until you are working on the right things. So clarity, ultimately, that it sort of comes down to is clarity is number one, and realizing and that is indeed the case. You have to stop everything you're doing until you have the clarity you need to actually be able to strategize, plan, and execute. So spending the necessary amount of time to get the clarity that you need is time well spent. So I would say, you know, starting with the end in mind is something that most people miss, and that's critical.
One of the 7 habits of Stephen Covey's 7 habits of highly effective people is begin with the end in mind.
Mm,
Begin with the end in mind. If you
yeah.
don't know your target, you're guaranteed to not hit it. Um, well, tell us how do what is it, 10 brands now? How does a guy newly married juggle 10 brands and stay sane? Give us some top tips, sir, before we run out of time on our show today.
Yeah, I mean, it's with solid systems, but I will say one concept that I explain to business owners that has really helped me do what I have been able to do to date is the concept that everything in your business is either a project or it's an accountability. And so a project is what working on the business looks like. You're growing the business, and accountability is working in the business. It's the recurring things that don't have an end, like a project. So like, customer support, bookkeeping, these are accountabilities. And differentiating, putting everything in the business, which, it's not only business, you can apply it to your personal life, but putting everything that happens into the business into one of two buckets gives me the clarity and simplicity that I need to be able to structure things much more efficiently. And so, the concept of accountabilities has been huge. So it's defining, how do you define accountability? Well, what is it? Who owns it? Only a single person can own an accountability. So, one person can own multiple hats, multiple accountabilities, but an accountability can only have a single owner. So it's four key questions. What is it? Who owns it? What's the frequency? So I've learned that you can batch almost everything and anything, accountability wise, into a daily, weekly, monthly, or quarterly checklist process. Some things you can argue that bi-weekly, but for the most part, it's daily or weekly. And then the final question, ongoing theme here, what does done look like for that accountability? What does success look like? So if it's customer support, maybe success looks like a screenshot of no open tickets at the end of every day, right? If someone owns that accountability. So being able to structure everything into and batching them into accountabilities makes it a lot easier to delegate as well, because I've already clarified in its most simple terms what done looks like, what are these things that have to get done. And so, you can't always automate something. That's fine. I actually did a tweet about this today. It's like the goal isn't try to automate everything. It's about just systemizing. So if you can't automate it, well, then let's delegate it. But as long as you have systems in place that are allowing the things to happen when they should and how they should, doesn't really matter if it's automated or not. You just need some solid systems and accountabilities for all my life and all these different businesses that I have operated and helped launch and so forth is really what's helped me kind of, make it easier to juggle and to execute.
I love that. Who's in charge of it? And how do we keep track of it? I think that's great. Well, let's do a 15-second triple shot from kind of picking Thomas's brain. What's your own top mental struggle currently that you're juggling, you're trying to deal with, besides being newly married?
Well, historically, ongoing theme here is getting the clarity I needed. Like I've been doing so many things. I've been such a Swiss Army knife. It took me quite a while, and only as of like recently to realize that like, okay, systems is really my strength. It's what really excites me. And so then how do I help? How do I take this skill set and just like double down on it and make something out of it and help others with? So that was like, historically one of the biggest struggles. Right now, I would say a struggle that I'm going through right now is I want additional clarity, but that's specifically on the types of businesses and people that I want to help. So now I'm clear that it's systems. I want to help more founders, and now I'm just trying to work through getting that bit more of additional clarity so I can make the most impact. Because if I can get clear on who my target audience is, then and who I can help best, I'm going to be able to help even more people. So something
And
I'm working
quickly,
through.
what would be the best tool you're finding to do that right now?
It seems like it's taking time to be alone, to document, to do brain dumps,
Ah,
capture your ideas. That on top of actually trying things, you have to try them to know.
and what are you going to be working on next? What's up next?
Replacing myself from this new kind of consulting service that I've built. So really, it's turning this into an agency, because ultimately I don't want to only just sell my time, which is it's fine to those that do. That's no problem there. But really, it's growing this new machine that I'm working on.
That's awesome. And guys, Thomas is a master of the grind free business success. If you're in the midst of a grind and you want to escape that, and as he said, replace yourself, which, gosh, I mean, we need to do. If what you're doing is valuable and you think it needs to outlast you,
Mm.
inevitably you'll have to replace yourself. What's maybe a great affirmation to leave our listeners, our viewers with, maybe to encourage them today?
I would say stress about quantity, not quality, meaning uh, double down on quantity and don't worry about things being perfect because they're never going to
Ah,
be perfect. And to get quality, you actually need quantity. Quality, in my opinion, just is a side effect of quantity. So just get doing, keep doing. It took me a long time to, get the clarity that I need and the experience I need to be able to create the impact I'm creating now. So I would just say, yeah, don't stress about things being perfect and just do and learn and quality will come.
Absolutely. I think perfection is the enemy of progress. And
Mm,
I've
totally.
dropped the link on how you can get in touch with Thomas in the show notes. And anything else, any other ways they can reach out to you, Thomas, besides on X at I M? That's just the letter I and the letter M. Thomas Morales on X. How else can they reach out?
ThomasMorales.com.
Thomas Brown, hey, that's easy enough. Hey, thank you guys for joining us. Go out and make it a great weekend. Don't try for perfection, just make progress, and that means make just throwing yourself in the game multiple attempts. And have a great week. Thanks, Thomas. Appreciate you being here.
See ya. Thank you.